In this lesson, you will learn how to identify linking verbs, predicate nominatives, and predicate adjectives in a sentence. Let's start with the basic definition of linking verb. A linking verb links the subject of a sentence to a predicate nominative or a predicate adjective. And what does that mean? Well, sometimes writers want to be able to describe people, how they feel, what they look like, what they do for a living, rather than necessarily tell what they're in the process of doing. That's where linking verbs come in. Linking verbs allow a writer to do more than tell what an action is. So, in order to identify a linking verb and how it works, it's really important to know that a linking verb is always going to be followed by a predicate nominative or a predicate adjective. We first need to be able to identify the subject of a sentence. The subject is essentially who or what the sentence is about. In other words, it's the protagonist or the main character of a sentence. And we're going to be putting our subjects in red circles. So let's look at the first example. My cousin is a chef. The sentence is about my cousin. And rather than tell what he or she, is in the process of doing, I want to be able to explain to somebody what my cousin does for a living. So I have the linking verb is, which I'm going to underline in green. And then I've finished the sentence by saying is a chef. So what this sentence is doing is linking the subject of the sentence to the predicate nominative chef. Predicate nominative is really just a fancy word for noun. Basically, a predicate nominative renames or identifies the subject of a sentence with a noun. My cousin is a chef. Chef is a noun. It tells you more about my cousin. The next sentence is going to work the same way. Ms. Hastings is the subject of this sentence. It's who or what the sentence is about. What about Ms. Hastings? She was, linking verb, my English teacher last year. So this sentence links the predicate nominative teacher to the subject, Ms. Hastings. The next sentence, I is the subject of the sentence. My linking verb, am. What am I? I am an award-winning musician. Note that award-winning in this sentence, English, my English in the previous sentence, those are adjectives describing the predicate nominative. That's why we're not marking those in any way. Stan became a pediatrician because he loved children. The subject is Stan. That's what the sentence is about. My linking verb is became. My predicate nominative is pediatrician. Pediatrician is describing or identifying Stan. And finally, for predicate nominatives, Sarah and Brandy would be the subject of the sentence. They are compound subjects. The sentence is about both of them. Sarah and Brandy remained. What did they remain? They remained friends even after Brandy moved across country, linking friends to the subject, Sarah and Brandy. So that's when the linking verb is joining the subject to a predicate nominative. It really works the same way with a predicate adjective, except with a predicate adjective, it's of course joining the subject to an adjective. So we're going to again begin by finding the subject of the sentence. The ice-covered branches. Branches is what the sentence is about. My linking verb is are. What are the branches? In this case, I have a compound predicate adjective. They are both fragile and glass-like. So both words come back to describe the branches. The next sentence, the cookies you baked us for the holidays were delicious. What's the sentence about? It's about the cookies. Well, what about the cookies? They were delicious. All the way back to cookies. Note that this stuff in the middle, you baked us for the holidays, that entire group of words describes cookies. So we have to be careful that we're making sure that we're joining the subject of the sentence to the predicate adjective, not any other word in the sentence. That's why we start by finding the subject. In the next sentence, Amy felt tired after running a marathon. What's the sentence about? It's about Amy. What about Amy? Amy felt. What did she feel? How did she feel? She felt tired. So tired is the predicate adjective that describes Amy. Next sentence, the students grew restless after an hour-long lecture on verbs. Oh no, who would want that? The sentence is about the students. What is it telling us about the students? That they grew. How did they grow? Not that they grew in inches. Growing in inches would indicate an action. It's really saying they became restless. The students grew restless after an hour-long lecture on verbs, linking restless to students. And finally, as the thunderbolts approached, the sky turned ominous. This is another sentence in which you need to be careful when determining the subject. Our instinct is to look for the first noun, but it's not about the thunderheads. It's really the sentence, at least the main clause, is about the sky. And what is it telling us about the sky? The sky turned, or in other words, became ominous, thereby linking the adjective ominous to the subject, sky. And that's it. There you have it. Predicate adjectives and predicate nominatives.